What would a vaccine do to the entire industry? And I'm talking about one that's been through all the appropriate phases of safety.
Well, a vaccine would certainly give customers confidence, not just in air travel, but in life and in public life in general. And when the vaccine is in place, and there will be a series of vaccines, hopefully over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see travel come back at a meaningful level. Will it return back to prior year? I think it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get consumer behaviors back. But we do know there's a tremendous amount of pent-up demand for transportation, for travel, for mobility, and we're ready to serve customers when they're ready to go.
You know, the International Air Transportation Association said today that it expects global travel, air travel, to come back by 2024. You're saying 2023. Can I just pinpoint you on that?
Oh, I wish I could tell you that precisely. I think there's going to be a couple elements. There's domestic travel. Domestic is doing better than international. Today, we're operating about 50% of our domestic flights with about 25% of our normal traffic on. So over the next 12 to 24 months, I see domestic coming back at a meaningful level. International is probably lagging domestic by about a year. So I think next summer is when you're going to start to see some meaningful international travel. Could it take to 2024? I guess that's possible, but hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll be back traveling at scale.
All right, we're 2 weeks or so into August. I know that April, May, June, you guys were down 93% when it came to load factor. Can you give us some sense of how August is shaping up, Ed? How is it looking? Is it better than what we've seen?
It's getting better. You're right. In April, we bottomed out at only about 5% of our traffic that we would typically carry at that point in time. For August, we're carrying about 25% of our normal traffic. Right after the 4th of July, we hit a little bit of a stall, but we're starting to see traffic slowly build again. And as news of vaccines and developments, not just in Russia, but more importantly in our country, are starting to become more commonplace and consumers see the end potentially in sight, that's encouraging people to get out and travel.
Is it more corporate or leisure? What's the balance there in the breakdown?
It's primarily leisure. Customers are traveling as they need to for essential reasons, whether it's for work purpose in terms of going to the front lines to fight the virus, for family events, as well as for leisure activities. Some great prices in the market, and there's a number of theme parks and hotels that have some great deals out there. So price takers, which are primarily leisure travelers, are out there seeking bargains.
I want to get to the middle seat policy that you, Delta, have. You are blocking off the middle seats to have that COVID distancing. United Airlines isn't doing that. American isn't. I believe JetBlue and Southwest are doing it, but you of the big three are holding to that. You had said that you would hold till about September 30th on keeping the middle seat vacant. Do you plan to extend that, Ed?
We do plan to extend that. It's out there through September 30th, but we will continue past September 30th to keep the middle seat blocked. Our top priority as we've gone through the pandemic is to restore confidence in consumer travel and their travel behaviors. And we believe distance on board the plane, having that middle seat open, having that seat next to you vacant, is an important factor in not just the comfort of the flight, but also the safety of the flight. We want consumers to feel as confident as they do already with us in their flight safety as compared to their personal safety.
I want to out you for a second here. You actually just got a COVID test. Number one, and we've got a little bit of video of that. This is your life, Ed. But number one, how many flights have you taken since the coronavirus really hit? And number two, do you test negative? I'm hoping. And number three, how many passengers do you find are reporting back to Delta saying, you know what, I tested positive after I flew on a Delta flight?
Well, I've been traveling throughout the pandemic. I've probably been on 30 flights since March. And it's a great experience, with all the protocols, masks, the distancing, capping load factors, middle seat blocked, the electrostatic fogging, the work we do with our filtration systems. The customer experience is better than it's ever been. Our satisfaction scores are up 20 full points in Net Promoter Score, and consumers are coming back to me as I see them out when I'm traveling, telling me that they're enjoying the experience. There's certainly the first time back, there's some apprehension as people get back into the environment, but more and more people as they take that second, third, and fourth trip, they're telling us we're doing a great job, and it's a discerning customer. It's someone that they're watching to make certain that we're implementing all the protocols that we tell people we're doing, and our team's doing a great job of that.
Yeah, I took a Delta flight, JFK to LA, and I have to tell you, I was not worried at all. Everybody was really doing exactly what you would hope they would be doing. Congress, so much so, not quite. Now, the government did give the industry early on about $25 billion in support because you guys were all down for the count. I believe Delta took the least amount, just over $5 billion, but there is hope for more. What kind of clarity or visibility can you give us on whether Congress and the government are going to give the industry more money? And if they don't, will you have to resort to layoffs?
Well, the CARES Act, which was the first round of stimulus, was really important for our industry. It enabled us to hold all of our jobs in place, not just at Delta, but all of the airlines, and gave us 6 months' time to plan for the recovery. We didn't know what we were in back in March and April. And what I would tell you is that I think most of us thought we'd be further along in containing the virus than we are today. So there has been a lot of conversation. There's been a lot of support all the way up through the president to considering extending the relief for airlines to get through the next 6 months, in turn for agreeing to continue to keep those workers in place, because we know airlines are going to be essential to the recovery of our economy. Our country is too large. We're connected through transportation systems, given our scale and size and how we operate, particularly our businesses. And keeping the employees in place will allow us to keep businesses in place that will get them moving as soon as they're ready.
Are you modeling for a no-deal scenario? And if so, what does that look like? Will you have to hike fares? Will you have to cut pilot pay? I know as a CEO, you always have to look not 10 minutes in front of your face, but about 100 miles down the road. Have you modeled for that?
Well, I don't know the outcome. We've heard support, but I think as we're all watching what's going on in Washington, it's pretty hard to predict. If we do not get the support that we need, I know within the industry there will be furloughs, and probably some pretty large numbers of furloughs in the tens of thousands of employees. At Delta, we're trying to mitigate that, and hopefully we don't have to do that. We've had a lot of great voluntary efforts by our employees to take time off. Currently, we've got tens of thousands of our employees that either have taken an early retirement, have voluntarily separated from the company, or off on voluntary unpaid leaves of absence. We have almost half our entire company out at this point in time. If we can keep using good voluntary measures to get through this, we can mitigate furloughs, but it's probably hard to say for sure that we'll be able to do that completely.
And finally, the Republicans, well, certainly Senate Leader McConnell is saying that one of the sticking points for the next round of stimulus overall in the CARES Act has to be a moratorium on lawsuits. Because the thinking is, if businesses are terrified to reopen because any random person can walk in and claim they got COVID on site, then that is not going to be a full-throated comeback for the economy. As an airline CEO, tell me what you think about that part of what the Republicans do want, and that would be just a halt in COVID-related lawsuits.
I think it's really important. COVID was no one's fault. This is something that we're all trying to manage through a very difficult time in our society, not just our economy. For an airline, having that confidence that not only us, but our customers, the businesses that sit behind our customers that are travelers, are going to be protected from litigation would be great confidence. And I think that would be important to helping to stimulate more travel and more commerce.
Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta. Boy, I'll tell you, you as a CEO have been through a near-death business experience. One last thing, did you test negative?
I did test negative. I've been tested a number of times.
Okay.
It's easy. By the way, Liz, we're testing all of our employees, all 90,000, and we're continuing to retest them and maintain them. So it's another step for not only protecting them, but protecting our customers.
Gotcha. Ed, we hope to see you again soon, and it's really encouraging about the August numbers. Thank you so much. Ed Bastian of Delta. Liz.